Hello viewers, good morning, good afternoon and good evening to you. Welcome to today's program. This is Biafra Breaking News Media. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not. The first topic we'll be looking at is Sunday Adeyemo Igboho. Igboho is the new face of the Oduduwa Republic agitation. I would like to briefly introduce who Igboho really is to us, and I would like to take some brief history of Igboho and how he came into limelight in this recent time. Igboho was born in October 10th, 1972 in Igboho town, Okeogun, Oyo State. So he grew up in Osun State and started repairing bike in his tender age, that is, as a mechanic. He also engaged in repairing every other, like motorcycles and other mechanical related issues. So along the line, he started his car dealing business. So he is known to be a human rights activist, a politician, of course, and a businessman. He is the chairman of ESN International Business Concept Limited. Igboho is also believed to possess metaphysical powers. Igboho is also a traditionalist, and he has 2 wives. Amongst his children are about 3 professional footballers who currently plays in Germany. So now let's look at the human rights activist perspective of Igboho's life. Igboho, as at the year 1997 and 1998, played major part in Madakeke or Ife War. So he defended Madakeke people and that role he played during this very conflict brought him to fame. That was the time that Igboho's personality with regards to human rights activism was actually came into limelight. Igboho actually gained this recent popularity nationwide and beyond as a result of the decision he made to liberate his people and their land from Fulani terrorist invasion. You know, Fulani terrorists with their foot soldiers are everywhere in Nigeria, and when they invade your community, gradually they'll become permanent citizens. Just like you hear some of the politicians who, resisted his speech or his ultimatum for Seriki, the Fulani terrorist coordinator, who supervises the terror they are meting against the people in Oyo and Osun State. So they made mention of the fact that he doesn't have the right to ask the Fulanis out, that Fulanis have stayed about 250 years in that place. So this comes to the same perspective of the fact that these people are out to conquer Nigeria because according to them, they believe that Nigeria is their inheritance. So this ultimatum he gave to the Seriki to vacate Oyo State is in line with the ultimatum given by Governor Akeredolu to the same people as the Fulani terrorists to vacate the state. And they should stop grazing on the roads. They should stop, using the bushes for kidnapping purposes. So, which does not all go well with Arewa consultative forum. And in their usual manner, they responded to the governor that he doesn't have the right to ask Fulanis out of his state. They are actually talking to the #1 citizen and the chief security officer of his state. Now, the question is what is left in Nigeria? Because the mayhem of these Fulani herdsmen is too rampaging in nature, because these are people, in fact, I used to wonder, is there still a place in the world where cows are reared openly? To the extent that they will be dragging the road, who passes and who passes first, or who should pass on the road on daily basis with motorists. In the classroom, they are there chasing school people here and there, and nobody does anything. You don't have the right to say anything. And if you should say something, they will come after you, with all kinds of threats. So the next thing we will have to note about Igboho is that he is the Akaoni Odua of Yoruba land. So he is known for fighting for the right of the Yorubas. What is significant something we should also know is that Igboho have come in contact with top politicians as a result of his quest to liberate his people. Let's look at the ultimatum he gave to the Fulanis. So this ultimatum was issued on the 21st January 2021. So Igboho insisted that his people, in his usual manner, because he's known to be a fighter, actually, he has liberated the people, defended the people on various occasions, so which is a credit to his name. The Yoruba people, especially Oyo indigenes and the places you've lived, loves him so much for that, because he is a man, whenever he comes into the society and says enough is enough, things are done the way he expected it, or else he will swing into action, not minding what is going to face him. He's that kind of personality. So, and he accepts the consequences of his action. He's not a coward in that regard. So he issued that ultimatum for the so-called Seriki who coordinates the activities of these Boko Haram agents in and out of the forest, and he supervises that is just like he's a reporter to the Fulani Northern Janjaweedism, So Igboho succeeded in ousting him out of the state. According to the eyewitnesses and other reports, so that soldiers escorted other Fulanis to vacate Oyo State, while Sariki, his house was burnt down, and in his lamentations, he was saying that he has trekked and walked a lot, that justice should be given to him and all that Igboho and the men made him to sleep in the bush and all these kind of unnecessary cries. The presidency, in their usual manner, started, trying to counter the moves to protect the Fulani interests. And of course, Igboho doesn't listen to that. He sticks to his word, and victory came to the people, as both the Sariki, the Fulani herdsmen, and all of them vacated Oyo State. That is in Ibaraba community, where actually the atrocities of these herdsmen are very high at the moment. Doesn't mean that herdsmen are finished in the state or maybe in the whole of the West. It's not necessarily that there are no longer existence of herdsmen in Oyo State. But the fact is, the basic move has been made and the displeasure of the people has been established and actualized. So the presidency or whoever they used to call themselves have noted that fact that the people, there are some certain things the people no longer tolerate. Igboho have done the best he could for the people, and we shall appraise him for that. The Yoruba nation appraises him for that. Biafra nation appraises him for that, because it takes the brevity of a mind like his to execute such project. The Arewa Consultative Forum continuously called for the arrest, and of course the presidency, having knew that Nigerians are reacting against their position, they are siding of Fulani herdsmen, just like our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu vehemently, continuously establishing the fact that the presidency are terrorists and terrorists are the presidency. So they're now backed down, walking through underground to see to the arrest of Igboho, while the ACF, that is Arewa Consultative Forum, are shouting openly, calling for the head of Igboho. In their normal ethnic psychological warfare against the southern Nigeria, they redeployed the existing CP in Osun State and sent in a new CP who is of Igbo origin, Ngozi Odenaoko. Let's take brief note of Ngozi Odenaoko's profile. Ngozi Odenaoko is an alumnus of the prestigious Imo State University, Imo State. So that was where she acquired her BSc in sociology in 1985. So she later proceeded to the University of Lagos, Akoko, Lagos State, where she badged master's degree at the MSc in criminology. She was appointed into the Nigerian Police Force as a cadet assistant superintendent of police in 15th March, to be precise, 1988. She trained also in the Nigerian Police Academy, Anes, Kaduna State, between 1988 to 1989. So this is just the short, brief profile of the CP Ngozi Odenaoko, but she will engaged in a lot of police activities, and she is also a successful policewoman. So to say, her profile is commendable, but in the usual manner of the Fulani terrorist government. Whenever things are going wrong, they will look for a way to play ethnic politics. This is where the interests of the people are now. So being the fact that they always like to play the Igbos against the Yoruba and Yorubas against the Igbos. So they deployed her now. They deployed her now in Oyo State to use her and cause the mayhem which they want to unleash on Oyo State through arresting Igboho, and maybe from there it will spread out. But the fact is that they want to establish the fact that Igbos are against Yorubas as usual. As a result, our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu wrote a warning letter, cautioning CP Ngozi that, of the implications of what she sent. Of course, the CP is not stupid, ordinarily, not to understand this. So I knew she is, but it takes a brave mind also to caution her to act bravely, because anybody or an individual cannot say that. It takes, in fact, a brave individual for the person not to be manipulated by a group of people or stayed on emotional ground. So that is what I observed in this regard. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's letter is a caution to waking her consciousness, because of course she's conscious, she understands this because she's not a kid. So, but it is also right, as our leader also awakened or attributed a voice to her consciousness, so that this legendary profile she have made in her career, she should walk home with it. And it's a good advice, because there's also a Yoruba man in Abia State who was, deployed there to assist the Fulanis in their usual manner to unleash mayhem on the Biafrans, on Biafrans. And the man peacefully resigned when he saw that actually these people have done nothing. So what is the reason for me to be, to command the forces against the society I'm supposed to protect? So he resigned honorably. So in this note I'm going to read out, that's the statement by our leader, trying to awaken the consciousness of the new CP in Oyo State. So the letter says, "You are an Igbo woman, so I expect you to be reasonable enough to know that Fulani IGP posted you to Oyo to pretend the arrest or possible killings of Yoruba youths in order to foment enmity between the East and the West at the critical juncture in the history of the liberation of all indigenous people across Nigeria, including you and your family. I will advise you to resign honorably from the position as a certain Yoruba CP did in Abia State when he declined to order men under his command to open fire on IPOB protesters. I am warning you not to do anything likely to jeopardize the safety or well-being of Sunday Igboho. Otherwise, you and your family will have the might of IPOB to contend with. The silly game you people always play in that zoo will no longer watch with us. Suddenly, Fulani have realized that appointing an Igbo woman as police commissioner is a good thing because they want to use you. Nothing should happen to Igboho. Like I said, I always commend our leader. His brevity is second to none, because he is a man who speaks truth to power. He's not just the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, but the leader of all Nigerian, reasonable Nigerian youths, not miscreants. Because the people who cause the agitators miscreants are actually the original miscreants in Nigeria, because they are the original people, the main people who don't understand the implications of the nation called Nigeria where they live in. So the reasonable Nigerian youths and those his voice of waking up are very much proud of him. And we say, may God bless him for continuously fighting for the people. On the other news, my people, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a small boy. Yes, what an insensitive statement. This was actually coming from the newly elected Ohaneze Chairman. It is so appalling, it's so disheartening. It's so consciencelessness for an old man of his caliber to make this kind of statement in the critical time of our history, of our nation, and the fact that he just assumed the seat. A brave leader, if he was not actually instituted by Fulani cabals, as alleged, a brave leader should have channeled his effort to positive restructuring of Igbo land institutionally, because currently there is nothing good about Ohaneze since their establishment. As far as I know, this is continuation of Ohaneze foolishness. You know, because the fact that they changed the person in office doesn't prove or show anything different from what has been in place. So it doesn't make any sense for anybody like to say Ohaneze now has new leadership. And unfortunately, the new leadership started badly, if that be the case, even though it is still contested who the legitimate Ohaneze leader is. But for him to come up openly to say this nonsense, does he think that we are still in the time where Fulani Northern oligarchy Janjaweedism still has control to whatever activities of Ohaneze Igboho? The fact is that ab initio, Fulani controls what we believe and what happens in Igbo land. Unfortunately, these days we've woken up. We've woken up to the extent that no amount of conviction can convince our people to believe what they are not supposed to believe. We used to verify things and, thoroughly scrutinize it before we believe a single step of that thing. So if he was so sleepy old man and could not notice what is happening or what was happening to the former Ohaneze Igboho's chairman, the Nyamwodo, that is just maluding him. He was just maluding himself, with nothing to account for as a leader. So, and he came into the office only to even start in a worst manner, because Nyamwodo in his life never openly referred to our leader as a small boy. He can body language it, but not to have the guts to stand and say, address him in that manner. He should have noted the fact that Ohaneze is having problems institutionally. And that is why Ohaneze never achieved anything since their establishment. And I was thinking that this man will be sensible enough, being old man, being a professor, being ambassador, however it's referred to. But unfortunately, with this statement, we all know that our criticism about his emergence as Ohaneze Igboho chairman is not wrong. So, according to his statement, he said, nothing can separate Igbo nation from Nigeria. Can you imagine? This is a complete example of the fact that he is a Meitiala Ohaneze Igboho's chairman, because there is no difference between him and Arewa Consultative Forum as a body. He speaks for them, he asks for them, and he stands for them. And this doesn't change the fact that Ohaneze have not done anything. So another thing, this made many Igbo people to start reacting. Start reacting so vehemently, trying to ascertain some certain things normally that needs to be properly scrutinized and verified for those who care. Because as for us, IPOBians and Biafrans, all Igbo people concerned, we all cares and should look into that. Do you know that there, just like you have a Rewa Constitutive Forum, this, that, they keep initiating one or two projects aside strongly standing behind their foot soldiers, the Metiala and the Boko Haram and other terrorist groups. Do you know that there is no Ohaneze, a single road, just a kilometer or half a kilometer of road, built and commissioned by Ohaneze, or even attracted by Ohaneze to the people of East? No single hospitals. These are just like scrutinized comments coming from Biafrans. And when you look at it, those things are fact. No single hospitals, no schools, no water, no nothing. Built by this so-called organization, Igbo Social-Cultural Organization. Now, the question is, do they actually depict what we believe in as Igbo people? Akuruna. Normally, we the Igbo people, we believe we might have empires outside Nigeria, for instance, but that single thing we brought home is the pride of any Igbo man or woman. So, as an organization, a development that is supposedly sees to the social and cultural affairs of Igbo people, which means the development of Igbo people should be one of their priorities. And they have nothing to show since their establishment till today. As this is what Ohaneze have done for an Igbo, Ala Igbo, however you are pronouncing it, Igbo Nzugbe, Igbo Enu, Igbo Ala, Igbo Sudan, all that, they are all pronunciation. So now, the question is, what does these people really stand for? Are they for Ndibo or against Ndibo? Evidence proves itself. Drop your comment in the comment section. Let's also, in all these things I've been saying, trying to analyze, trying to bring to your notice, drop your comment, share it and share your knowledge, bring it to the notice, of course, object it, there are room for objection. The next topic is 139 soldiers resigned from the army. What's it to go? 139 soldiers resigned from Nigerian army, and more are still yet to resign. Let's briefly look at the statement by the military. Accordingly, that is the representative speaking, I am directed to request you to release the affected soldiers to report to the headquarters with their unit service documents for documentation. That is on the 5th January 2021, and ensure that A, all forms of military controlled items, arms, ammunition, and items of combat kits are removed from the soldiers prior to the disengagement date, and certify that they are properly declared. B, that they complete all necessary documentation for withdrawal from NAWI's contribution, the fund contribution, national mortgage contribution. So, among other statements. Now, the most important thing we should be concerned about here is, let them not be trained spies. I repeat, IPOBians should be very, very conscious of the activities of all these resigned military personnel. With the ones that have resigned, however they are participating or partaking in IPOB activities, should be 100% regulated, because of the fact that there are possibilities that all of them are not just those that willingly resigned, while most of them are trained spies, pushed down to continuously rig informations from IPOB hub. So my point is, there are genuinely resigned military personnel, but we should not ignore the fact that there are also people who also were trained by Nigerian military to also claim their resignation, whereas they are secretly working for Nigerian government. So, to avoid some stories that are not supposed to be told, although in whichever way, IPOB Secret Service, IPOB M Unit, and the rest of them are more intelligent than anything Nigeria can breed. But it will be so challenging if those people whom I am referring to as spies by Nigerian government are made of Igbo origin. Because when two intelligent persons crash, the results are always a bit different from when ignorant are working against the intelligent. Because my point is, they are more likely to be of Igbo origin. So there are some certain born saboteurs, in our land, and we should not disregard that. So that is some of the few topics we need to note about this weekend. So subscribe to this channel, put your comments down below, and share your views of this and opinions of these topics. Stay tuned.